Hey everyone, welcome back for a little TLC. So this week we're still going to be talking about self-control and specifically self-control in the area of eating. Now I know that this is a very touchy subject. I had another video where I talked about Christianity, eating, and weight, and I received a lot of interesting feedback, but this is a conversation that needs to be had. So today we're talking about self-control and eating. Okay, so before I really get into it, I want to make it clear that this is not going to be a talk about whether we should or should not eat something. I think that there is scripture and there's enough commentary about whether certain foods are clean or unclean. But I believe that there's also a scripture that says we are free to do anything, but not everything is beneficial for us or beneficial to us. And so I really want us to think about that same concept when we consider what we eat. We may be free to do everything. We may be free to eat anything, but everything may not be beneficial to us. And I want us to consider what is beneficial to our bodies, what is nutritious for our bodies. Now, I know this is a very touchy subject. We love to eat whatever we want, but we don't like to talk about the consequences of us eating whatever we like. And y'all, there are consequences to us eating whatever we want and having no regard for where that might take us. If you live in America, you live in one of the fattest and sickest countries in the world. And when it comes to eating, we like to make a lot of excuses. We say things like, well, you don't know if somebody's thyroid is acting up. That's something that I've heard in the past. Or people will say, like, my grandma used to eat this and she was fine. Or if we're starting to feel sick or unhealthy as a result of the way that we eat, we'll immediately turn to medicine. I was even looking at a Pepto-Bismol bottle the other day, and it provided some dosages of Pepto-Bismol that you can take if you are experiencing symptoms from overindulgence, which is just being greedy. Like, you didn't ate too much. And so instead of going to Pepto-Bismol, the real key is to just not eat so much, to just not be so greedy. And I think that's a remedy that we could have for a lot of illnesses and a lot of sicknesses, is just not eat so much, or at least be more concerned about the things that we are putting into our body. Are these foods we eating actually nutritious for us? Are they beneficial for us? Did you all know that the leading cause of death in America is heart disease? And a lot of that can be attributed to our diet and our lack of exercise. Are we eating a bunch of fatty, cholesterol-filled foods? I think number 2 on the list is cancer. Number 4 or 5, I believe, is stroke, which, comes from hypertension and us eating a lot of salty foods like that pork, the pig that people love to eat. I think that diabetes is number 7 or so on the list. And, that comes from, are we eating sugary foods? Like, what are we eating? What are we doing with our diet? And I believe a lot of these diseases, a lot of these illnesses are preventable if we are concerned about our diet. I believe that a lot of them are treatable or at least manageable if we are more conscious of the type of food that we are eating. Are we only eating fat-filled, greasy, sugary, salty, cholesterol-filled foods? Are we even acknowledging that we might have some type of food addiction? I believe that a lot of the foods that we eat and the hormones that are in those foods do have the tendency to make us addicted, and that's why a lot of us may have these issues. Did you all know that sugar, white sugar, has the same impact on the body and on the brain as cocaine? I really want us to consider the way that we eat and how it impacts our overall bodies and even our ability to have self-control in our diets. I want you all to know that this is not about fat shaming. I think that you can be skinny from a visual perspective and still be unhealthy based on the things that you eat and whether or not you choose to exercise. But I do think that we have to acknowledge that whatever we are doing is not working. If you live in America, we are one of the, if not the fattest and sickest countries in the world. And I believe a lot of that is because we are literally eating ourselves to death. Um, Making excuses is not working. We still have people who are obese. Even our children are becoming more and more obese with time. Praying over our food and expecting for God to bless whatever mess we have on our plate is not working. And even saying that everything is okay in moderation is something that I have been having to rethink over the last couple of weeks, because I don't really know if I have a moderation button. For me, my cheat meal might turn into a cheat week. And I honestly think that I have been on a cheat meal for about 2 months since after graduation. And so I think we have to even rethink what moderation looks like. What does self-control look like for us in the area of eating? Is it, I don't need to have sugary foods or sweets altogether because I don't have a moderation button? Is it, instead of me getting this fat and greasy food, I'm going to try something grilled today. I'm going to try to cut back on my meat consumption, or I'm going to try to not have so much of these salty foods. I'm going to try a healthier option. Is it, instead of me going out every single day, I'm going to take the time to cook, because I don't know what's in this fast food, and I don't know if that's actually good for me. I know none of those things necessarily sound easy, and it may be difficult, a difficult transition. But number one, I believe that when it comes to eating healthy foods, we have to train our palate just like we have to train our bodies for exercise. We can teach our bodies, we can teach our palates to like healthier foods if we actually start to put effort into eating those things. And number two, again, no discipline seems good at the time, but there is a harvest of peace and righteousness for those who are trained by it. And I believe that peace can come in the form of feeling great in your physical body when you are eating the way that you're supposed to. And I think that it can also come from peace of knowing that you won't have the risk of these health outcomes later in life because you have been taking care of your body and you've been eating in a healthy way. I saw a post from someone this weekend who watched the previous video, and they talked about how they struggle with self-control in the area of eating, but they were encouraged by the video last week and decided that they were going to start off exercising their self-control muscle by having a healthy breakfast. And the breakfast looked amazing. And so I pray that they stuck with it for the rest of the day. But I think that that's how we need to think about all of these things. It's not about, I'm going to make this radical change and that's why it's so difficult, but just take it one meal at a time. Start with breakfast. Choose to have a healthy breakfast. Choose to have a healthy snack after that, and just count every small win as a victory that's going to keep you moving forward in your journey to exercise self-control in the area of eating. So that's what I have for today. I know that this was kind of, it feels like kind of heavy, but I wanted to provide some reasons why we need to exercise self-control in the area of eating, and hopefully you are encouraged to try to do at least a little bit better. This is a journey that I am on myself, and sometimes I am failing. I'm failing in the area of eating and self-control, but I want to do better because I do want that peace, both physically and mentally and also spiritually, of knowing that I'm doing all that I can to have a healthy body, which I believe directly relates to a healthy mind, so that I can be my best self as I try to bring God glory. I would love to know what you all think about this. Is this something that you struggle with? If you don't, I would love to have some tips on how you exercise self-control in the area of eating. And I will hopefully see you all next week for a little TLC. Bye-bye.